technology and equipment not found in the civilian world. The Army National Guard can get you started in an array of STEM-related career fields such as information technology, communication systems, special forces engineers, technical engineering, air traffic control, and chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear science. Get a head start on your career in an exciting new field while earning money to pay for college, all while serving in your own community. Log on to NationalGuard.com or talk to a recruiter in your area to learn about all of the STEM career opportunities available to you in the Army National Guard. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Want to help pull the plug on cyber terrorists? Or get the skills to work with satellites and other space technology? How about learning the avionics inside stealth fighters? And do you want to reach your goals fast? You can do it and take your life to the next level in the Air National Guard. Because you serve part-time, you do it in a way that works for you. You can achieve your career and educational goals with plenty of time for family and friends. The Air Guard offers nearly 200 career specialties, so you'll get the high-tech skills you need to kick your career into high gear. You can also be eligible for college tuition assistance. The best part is, in the Air Guard, you'll be making a real difference by serving your community and country. So get your future off the ground in the Air National Guard. Call the Alabama Air National Guard at 1-800-TOGOANG or visit goang.com/AL.
The following is a production of WEGL 91.1 FM.
That ball is gone! It's a walk-off home run for Stephen Williams!
WEGL Sports,
The Tigers are headed to the College World Series!
where every
Lewis is gonna score! Touchdown Auburn! Touchdown Auburn!
game
They're not gonna keep him off the field tonight! Holy cow!
lives. It's now time for the Extra Point. Auburn's best sports talk personalities on Auburn's best station.
We the North are now we the champions. The Raptors, the 2019 NBA champs.
Auburn's most watched sports TV show, Auburn's best sports talk radio show.
Lillard, long range three, and it's good! At the buzzer! Damian Lillard! Are you kidding me?
Call in at 334-844-9345 to join the debate.
Oh my God!
Deep to right field, way up there, and way out of here! Second deck walk-off home run! Grand slam, Bryce Harper!
Lock in. The Extra Point starts now on WEGL Radio and Eagle Eye TV. Presented by WEGL Sports, where every game lives.
Here we come. Yeah, here we come. Hey, here we come. Hey, here we come. Here we come.
You know, no matter what sport Auburn's playing, whether that's basketball, football, hockey at this point, when it comes straight down to it, they never make my heart feel good toward the end. Welcome inside Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV. Hello, everybody. As always, your gracious host, Jared Dillard, and joining me in the studio is Andy Hewling, Javon Cutler, and Jack Hart. Andy, we will start with you first. When I woke up this morning, it was 18 degrees. No, take that back. 16 degrees. Sorry, I bumped it up a little bit. How are you faring in this weather?
Well, I had to bring out now the extra heavy-duty jacket, my Auburn big woolly jacket inside. I'm telling you, it is so cold. Like, I don't know where this weather came from. It was like 100 degrees like only 4 weeks ago. This is crazy. But yeah, doing good. Glad to be back talking some sports today. So ready to jump into everything.
Javon, you're up next. How you doing today?
Doing all right, Jared. Everybody, of course, is feeling pretty cold. It feels like we skipped over fall and just kind of went straight to winter weather, so I'm not enjoying that right now. But it was a fun sports day, I'd say, yesterday. I mean, there was some action going on. pretty good games as far as that.
Man, this is the second week in a row I miss Maction.
It was good games today, or last night, too.
I was too depressed in watching Auburn basketball, too hyped about Kentucky basketball, and we'll get into that in a second, and then I missed Maction.
Yep, you missed out on it, but nonetheless, I mean, Auburn did get the win in basketball. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, in a moment. But overall, I'd say it was a pretty great sports night.
Jack, I heard you got a new laptop battery.
Very excited about that. I'm untethered for the first time in about 4 months, so that feels amazing. But what doesn't feel amazing is how dang cold it is. I remember the coldest it had been in a while was the day Auburn went to the Peach Bowl. It was 18 degrees. And that was in January.
Don't bring that up.
I'm very shocked that it's getting to that point in November already. I wonder what this winter has in store. I know there's a big upset happened last night. Everyone's antsy to talk about, and I am too. So let's get right into things, Jared.
You're right. Let's get into things on this Wednesday, November 13th morning. Hopefully everybody driving to work or having to go through that cold, hopefully it's all okay. If you want to call in, you can. At 334-844-9345. That is 334-844-9345 to join the show. You can also ask a question in the live stream, our TV live stream. By the way, you can see our pretty faces on Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, and YouTube. It'll come through here on my laptop, and you'll be able to ask a question live on the show, give you a shout out and everything. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. I'll let you guys choose where we go first. Do we go Kentucky or do we go Auburn? Do we want to be depressed or do we want to make fun of somebody first? We'll go Auburn first.
Let's get Auburn out of the way.
Depression out the way, then we could have some fun.
Apparently, it wasn't good.
Did you not watch the game? I mean, I know it was on ESPN Plus, so you may not have access to it.
Nah, I went to bed early.
You went to bed? That's fair. But wait, how early did you go to bed?
9.
Yeah,
The game was over by then.
the game would have been over by then.
Yeah.
Well, I still didn't watch it.
It's not an excuse, Jack. So Auburn beat South Alabama by a score of 70-69. It was Isaac Okoro's game-winning layup with 1.3 seconds left to go to give the Tigers the big dub. Auburn, let me see what the run was toward the end of the game. Auburn was winning at one point 61-47 with 9:07 to go in the second. At 5:03, it was 66-56, 10-point game. And then it was, I mean, there's no really way to put it. South Alabama went on a run, and they took the lead, but Okoro made that layup, and Auburn got the big win. As, a win's a win. That doesn't mean I have to feel good about it. What's the big takeaways from the game?
Well, I was able to watch it, and by the way, I just got Disney Plus with the ESPN Plus package. I'm telling you, it's great. It's great
Excuse
stuff.
me? Was that a product placement?
It was a product placement, Jared.
You stop that.
Hey, it's great. It's a great deal. I'm telling you, you get ESPN Plus with it. So I was able to watch the game, and honestly, I felt like Auburn kind of struggled at the start. And then they seemed to pick things up, and the defense got in and started making plays. And I thought, okay, Auburn's going to extend this lead out. It got to 14 points. I was like, okay, it's done. But Andre Fox stepped up for South Alabama and went off, scoring 23 points. He had over 10 rebounds in the game. I mean, he was legit. So I thought he was one of the big stories for South Alabama, as he was able to shoot the three-pointer very well, and he got them back in the game. And Auburn just seemed to stall out in those last 5 minutes where they weren't able to score. They weren't able to do things that they were able to early in that second half. But fortunately, Isaac Okoro stepped up, had a huge dunk to give Auburn the lead, then followed up with the clutch shot off 2 rebounds from Auburn's Samir Dowdy. And it was, I guess, for Auburn, it was a great comeback, but at the same time, you have to be worried about how they played because it wasn't pretty.
You want to know what was also great? It was also a great letdown. South Alabama went on a 14-2 run at one point in the second half, closing out to get back into the game. Auburn can't allow that. And, well, before I get into what I was about to get into, Jack or Javon, is there any comments about the game that you saw?
I mean, for this game coming into it, I knew South Alabama was apparently one of the best teams, if not the best team, projected in the Sun Belt Conference this year. So it was similar to a Davidson team in terms that they have a lot of veterans coming back, and there was not a lot of pressure on South Alabama, but they knew they had a chance to knock off Auburn. I mean, the crowd looked electric. It was a sellout, and Auburn really did have a chance to blow this game, and I thought they honestly were going to. But clutch play by Isaac Okoro, who continues to grow in his freshman year. You see the maturity and the promise he has with each game as it progresses throughout the season. So it was a bit of a letdown for Auburn, but I wasn't surprised with the outcome. Honestly, I thought Auburn would have lost this game, kind of give them a bit of a wake-up call to see what they need to reevaluate, and they could still reevaluate this coming Friday. But I think for Auburn, this was kind of one of these games that they needed to kind of give themselves a boost a little bit as far as a morale, because South Alabama, like I said, is one of the best teams in the Sun Belt, and Davidson past game was one of the best teams in the Atlantic 10. So these are some good, I'd say, lower tier resume building wins, because these two teams could appear in the NCAA tournament. But for Auburn, I think their shooting was much better. Shot about 45%, shot almost 42% from three. They limited their turnovers, which has been a huge problem for Auburn starting off this season. But I think for Auburn, it was a solid win. They knew this was not going to be easy, and I think they just need to refocus for these next few games coming up at home.
Yeah. Once again, if you want to call in, you can at 334-844-9345 or ask a question in the live stream on Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, and YouTube. I think I got all those right. Jack, once again, you went to sleep, so I guess you don't really have anything to say, do you?
I mean, yeah, going off what Javon said, I think this is a great outcome if you're an Auburn fan or a member of this Auburn team, because you kind of got the wake-up call of realizing that, I mean, it's a new season. It's a clean slate. You're going to have to work for every single game without also getting a loss in the L column. So I think you can take solace in that. Yes, you got out of Mobile with a win, and yes, it was scary. It showed you how brutal the game can be if you're not 100% effort at all times. And I think that was important. And also seeing a lot of the reactions last night from the game were seeing how confident Bruce Pearl was in the team. I mean, he had a comment about, we're going to send these fans home pouting instead of smiling, because he knew that his team could go out there, get that final bucket, get the go-ahead score to win the game. And I like that confidence out of Bruce Pearl. And whether or not that blew up in his face and they lost the game, I like that he's sending his guys out there for every play with the confidence to go out and win a basketball game.
I only have one comment. 54.5%. You know what that is? You want to know what number that is?
Is that Auburn's free throw percentage?
It is. It ain't great. I mean, you can't win games like that.
No,
or you can, because Auburn literally just did it, but it's not sustainable.
It's dropped off since last year, because I remember before the Final Four season, Auburn still struggled with free throws and has been for a number of years until last year. And I kind of thought maybe Bruce will solve that issue that's been going on with Auburn basketball, that they can't hit free throws. But I think the young team kind of is going to have to learn things. And I really think as a whole, free throws are just kind of an example of this team still learning the basics, because it's hard. You know, you've got a lot of guys who are going to get playing time. They got to come into these environments like that and play good basketball. But it doesn't work like that all the time, and sometimes these veterans are going to have to really step up until these young guys like Okoro and Jamal Johnson and Devin Cambridge really come around. So I think Auburn's learning to have like growing pains in the second year after the Final Four, and you know, it's going to be just all about working out those kinks.
I mean, I don't want to say free throw is a basic thing, but because there's a lot that goes into it, but Auburn definitely is going to have to figure that out. You got to bump those numbers up to at least 70 as a team. I mean, especially for somebody like McCormick, who was 0 for 3, which I know is 3 points. It's not a lot. Still scored 9 points, but those are points we got to get on the board, especially with the foul trouble that South Alabama was in early in the game, right? I mean, you saw the coach take off their tie. He was so mad. Like, you got to take advantage of that. Auburn was in the double bonus real early in the first half, and then the guy there in the second half, and when they put you on the line, when they say here's some free points, you got to take it if you're Auburn, especially if you eventually kind of blow that lead as well. Also, it doesn't help that Austin Wiley, Daniel Purefoy combined for 4 points. Now, that's different. That's a kind of a game plan thing, right? I mean, when you look at it, Wiley only shot literally once. He missed, but he was 2 of 2 from the line. So he hit the free throws. So he didn't shoot a lot. He only played 10 minutes as well, as Anthony McLemore got most of the minutes in that kind of position. Because usually when Wiley comes out, it's kind of a bigger guy like McLemore. McLemore, 26 minutes. He was 5 of 9 from the field. He had 14 points. Johnson at 14 points. Okoro 15. Dowdy 10. So it was still a good performance by Auburn, and you saw kind of a different change in the personnel based on what South Alabama did. Obviously, if you watch South Alabama, you know they were a team that kind of drove in the paint and wanted to get the easy close buckets. If I remember correctly, I don't think South Alabama made a 3-point shot until the second half. They were literally just going in there and grinding it out in the first half, and that's why you saw McLemore in there, big body, big frame, explosive. Was a SEC block machine before the injury against South Carolina. And that's probably why you saw him down there, because he was that defensive boost for that South Alabama alignment. But Auburn, they got to figure out that free throw thing soon, especially when you start getting SEC play. You're playing these tougher teams. You may be able to win some games like that, but you ain't going to win them all. And I think Bruce Pearl will be the first person to say it. There's no way we shoot 54.5% from the free throw line and expect to make it back to the Final Four. We got to go and got to work on it. That's what something Bruce would say. With that being said, we're going to head to our quick commercial break. And when we come back, we will detail Kentucky and their dramatic loss last night. You're watching and listening to Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV.
And they stay there, and they say yeah, and they stay there. Up, down, up, down. 'Cause all I do is win.
The skills you can develop as a soldier in the Army National Guard can give you an edge in the high-tech job market of tomorrow. The Guard offers career training to take advantage of your skills in science, technology, engineering, and math that can help give you a leg up to a high-paying and rewarding STEM profession. Gain practical experience with emerging technology and equipment not found in the civilian world. The Army National Guard can get you started in an array of STEM-related career fields such as information technology, communication systems, special forces engineers, technical engineering, air traffic control, and chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear science. Get a head start on your career in an exciting new field while earning money to pay for college, all while serving in your own community. Log on to NationalGuard.com or talk to a recruiter in your area to learn about all of the STEM career opportunities available to you in the Army National Guard. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Want to help pull the plug on cyber terrorists? Or get the skills to work with satellites and other space technology? How about learning the avionics inside stealth fighters? And do you want to reach your goals fast? You can do it and take your life to the next level in the Air National Guard. Because you serve part-time, you do it in a way that works for you. You can achieve your career and educational goals with plenty of time for family and friends. The Air Guard offers nearly 200 career specialties, so you'll get the high-tech skills you need to kick your career into high gear. You can also be eligible for college tuition assistance. The best part is, in the Air Guard, you'll be making a real difference by serving your community and country. So get your future off the ground in the Air National Guard. Call the Alabama Air National Guard at 1-800-TOGO-ANG or visit goang.com/AL.
And welcome back inside the Extra Point here on WEGL 911 and Eagle Eye TV. Hello, everybody. Jared Dillon, and joining me in the studio is Andy Hewling, Javon Cutler, and Jack Hart. We talked about Auburn, got through that, but there's another game that happened, and honestly, it makes me chuckle. And that game being Kentucky basketball. They had a game last night, and it did not go as planned. Kentucky took on Evansville, who I believe is from Indiana.
They're the 8th best team in Indiana preseason rankings.
8th best team in Indiana. And Evansville not only beat Kentucky 67-64, they controlled the game for the most part. They led for what I want to say for about a good 70% of this game. On the road, went in, controlled the game, took down the number 1 Wildcats. By the way, Kentucky has never lost at home to a unranked non-conference opponent when they were the number 1 team in the nation. That ended. Evansville has never beaten a number 1 team. That ended. In the history of NCAA basketball, the number 1 team has never lost twice in November. That ended. As Michigan State lost, now Kentucky's lost. And now nobody wants to be number 1, apparently. Kentucky loses 67-64 to Evansville. Let's give a shout out to some of the Evansville players, as they went in and they grinded. Leading the way for them was KJ Riley, 4 of 8, 18 points. But Cunliffe had 17 points, 6 of 13. They did a very great job. I think one of the biggest things for Evansville is that their head coach, guess what, is a former Kentucky Wildcat who won a national championship there. So it was kind of a homecoming thing. It was this amazing thing, and wow, great win by Evansville. I guess we'll see them in the tournament now.
Evansville lost to a D2 school in exhibition.
We don't bring that up because Auburn did the same thing years ago. I remember Berry College. I remember that. But yeah, Evansville, big win. Kentucky, humiliating loss. I mean, Rupp was very quiet at the end. It was kind of sad because, I'm trying to sit there and watch the Auburn game as Auburn went in the halftime. I'm like, man, I'm going to switch over to Kentucky. And then bam. And this is an Evansville team that had not one, but 2 shot clock violations in the last 2 minutes. It was like they didn't know what to do with the lead. Literally, their last possession, the guy was down in the paint dribbling. He pump faked. He could have went back up for it. I don't know if anybody saw this. He pump faked, could have went back up and tried to get some points. He kicked it back out with 1 second on the shot clock to try to shoot a 3 to somebody. And the other guy just tried to shoot it. The clock went off. Like, you have 1 second on the shot clock and you're going to kick it out instead of putting it back up. They didn't know what to do with the lead, but they kept it. And that's all that matters, as Kentucky came up short. And also another game that wasn't as exciting, but it was a top matchup. Number 14 Oregon defeated number 13 Memphis 82-74. As the James Wiseman stuff continues to go on. Hardaway said for Memphis that the Wiseman stuff isn't a distraction, that it's not playing into the team's chemistry or anything like that. Whether you believe that or not, that's neither here nor there. But what's kind of the big takeaways from either the Kentucky loss or you want to talk about the James Wiseman stuff?
Well, I think for the Kentucky story is that the 2 of their best players were held under 10 points. One being Ashton Hagans, who only had 3 points, and he's supposed to be one of their star players. Played last year against Auburn in the Elite Eight and was really good, but to only score 3 points was really surprising. I thought he would get a lot more. Also, Nick Richards, one of their big guys, only had 6 points. A lot of guys are held in check, except for Emmanuel Quickly. He scored 16 points, but the rest of them were all under 10 points. I think that's a huge story for Evansville to shut down 4 out of their 5 guys under double digits.
Yeah, for Evansville, I mean, it's just one of these wins that you're always going to remember, and it just seems like the whole university has loved this happening because I'm looking at their website right now, and they advertised on Facebook, "Don't sleep on this team. Get your season tickets today." In honor of men's basketball scoring 67 points against number 1 Kentucky, the 67th person to purchase student tickets before noon tomorrow gets a special reward. So they're relishing in this opportunity that, hey, we beat the number one team. We're probably gonna generate more revenue for our basketball program. More fans are gonna want to show up now because we got that publicity. So this is a great story for Evansville. And to touch on the Oregon-Memphis game real quick, I think it was just more of Oregon having a veteran team and Memphis still trying to figure its way out because Memphis, they did have the number one recruiting class in the country, but they have a bunch of freshmen on this team that are making impacts. Wiseman struggled a little bit in this game, and Oregon is led by a veteran point guard in Peyton Pritchard, who is a senior now, and he was on that team that went to the Final Four a few years ago. So I think with that game, it was more of an Oregon being a veteran team compared to Memphis kind of being the young team, and it also helped that Oregon was playing in Portland, so it was not really a home game, but it was a quote-unquote home game for Oregon. So I think that played a huge part in the decision as well.
You know who else relished in the moment of Evansville beating Kentucky? UMBC's Twitter account, because they went off yesterday. And you know what? They have the right to just keep doing that for the rest of time. For those who do not know, UMBC was the team that defeated Virginia as the 16 seed. And what's something that we thought we would never see. But UMBC got into that as well. But yeah, you know, the Kentucky loss, we can sit here and make fun of them. I mean, Kentucky always has those kind of rocky starts to the season because they always have to reload. So it was to be expected that they were going to struggle. We didn't expect them to lose to Evansville. I don't think anybody expected that. Well, ESPN had them at 99% chance to win. But another one had 97%. So I guess they were the right ones in that situation. I don't know. Neither here nor there. Kentucky lost, and doesn't look good for the Wildcats for right now. Some games tonight. LSU's in action. They take on VCU. Here's the interesting thing about that VCU game. It's on ESPN2, by the way, at 5 o'clock. Number 23 LSU goes on the road to VCU, and VCU is favored by 3 points against the ranked Tigers. Here is a great game that will be on tonight. Number 10 Villanova versus number 16 Ohio State in the Gavitt tip-off game. That's at 6 o'clock on FS1. And then you have Louisville taking on Indiana State. And Texas Tech taking on, I believe, to be Holy Baptist. So that will be a couple of good games. Houston Baptist, sorry. That'll be a couple of good games that you can watch tonight, at least ranked v. ranked. Any other thing on college basketball before we head to our next break?
I think it's very interesting that VCU is favored in that game after VCU dropped out of the AP poll from the preseason to week 1. I wonder why that is.
Nobody respects the Commonwealth, man. I think maybe that's just what it is. You know, the poll in basketball is so weird. It's not like college football, which we'll talk about that on the other side of the break. The college football playoff rankings coming out, and some people have gripes about it. And I'll see what your guys' opinions are. So with that being said,
LSU plays UMBC next week.
Don't you say that. Look up during the break if UMBC has a football team. I want to see. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and head to a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we'll talk about the college football playoff rankings. And, well, if we have any gripes about it. Remember, you want to call in, you can at 334-844-9345. That's 334-844-9345. Or ask a question in the live stream on Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, or YouTube. We'll get your question live on the show after this break if you want to talk the college football playoffs. You're watching and listening to Extra Point here on WGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV.
Hi, I'm Harrison Smith. You may know me from my work as Scuba, one of the hosts of the hit award-winning show Nerdcore on Weagle 91.1 FM. But what you may not know about me is that I'm a website enthusiast. That's why I'm here to tell you about WeagleFM.com. It's our hotspot on the web with live broadcast articles and more. It's like a gift that keeps on giving. Tune into your favorite shows at any time with a 24/7 online stream right on the homepage. And don't forget to check out the schedule for our station's full selection of music, sports, and talk shows. For the sports fans, there's to articles aplenty covering all of the current events in football, basketball, and beyond. For those music fans, Weagle FM has got you covered. We have album and concert reviews and theme playlists for any mood. We even have live musical performances with Weagle Sessions. There's more than enough content here to keep you procrastinated when you really should be studying for that test. That's right, we know you've been slacking off. Get back to it, lazy. So, no matter what sound you're looking for, we've got it only on WeagleFM.com. That's WEGLFM.com and Weagle 91.1 FM, Auburn.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzzed driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You could kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says, "I'm a catch," more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Can't keep me down.
Welcome back to the Extra Point here on WGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV. Hello, everybody. Jared Dillard. And joining me in the studio is Andy Hewlin, Javon Cutler, and Jack Hart. 30 minutes down, we went over the depression of Auburn, and then we made fun of Kentucky for losing to Evansville. Now it's time to get into the college football top 25. The poll was released last night, and it was released. I didn't know what time it was being released. I was walking to my car in the cold, by the way, and I got a notification that Auburn was number 12. And I was like, oh, I guess we already did it. Oh, well, there's all the fun in that. So Auburn fell one spot because where Minnesota jumped, right? So Auburn didn't fall one spot because the bye week or anything like that. It was literally because of Minnesota leapfrogging all the way up to 8. They were the biggest movers, 9 spots up. The biggest droppers were Kansas State. They dropped 8 spots to 24, but hey, they're still there, I guess. So they got that going for them as well. So let's talk about the college football playoff rankings. If you want to call in, you can at 334-844-9345. That is 334-844-9345 to talk about the rankings. Or if you want to ask a question in the live stream on Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, or YouTube, you can as well. Give us your rankings, and we'll see what we say about that. That being said, the current top 6 in this order: number 6, Oregon; number 5, Alabama; number 4, Georgia; number 3, Clemson; 2, Ohio State; and 1, LSU. Rounding out the top 10 is number 7, Utah; number 8, Minnesota; number 9, Penn State; number 10, Oklahoma; and then 2 SEC teams right behind them at 11 and 12, Florida and Auburn, with an undefeated team in Baylor at number 13. And that's kind of the big thing here. So notable teams jumping into the rankings. Texas is back. They jumped from not ranked to 19th. So, okay, cool, hook 'em. And then also,
I mean, on top of that, half of the Big Ten is ranked. There are 5 Big 12 teams in the poll now.
So, yeah. App State's in there as well. They came back. Navy's still sitting up in there. Oklahoma State's in there. And the highest ranked group of 5 team still is Cincinnati. So we'll see. And Memphis is right behind them. So we'll see who represents New Year's 6 between those 2 teams. Boise State's still in there. So we'll see. We'll see. With that being said, all right, let's get into it. Are there any gripes about the playoff right now? Our top 6 teams, our top 10. Any gripes?
I wouldn't say gripe, but I'd just say I was interested that Georgia got moved to 4. I understand Alabama losing. You got to dump them out. They needed to just because they lost to LSU. But I was a little interested that Georgia got to 4. But, I mean, that's for now. Maybe they might lose, and Alabama will reclaim that spot more than likely. But I thought it was just interesting. I was quite surprised to see Georgia in the 4 spot.
Why were you surprised?
I don't know. I guess honestly, I'm not really surprised. I'm just kind of interested, as I said, because I don't know if they have the resume. I mean, they beat Florida, they beat Notre Dame. Those are 2, I guess, pretty good wins because Florida's ranked still in the.
Those are 2 top 16 wins.
Yeah, those are 2 top 16 wins. I think over Alabama, that's fair. But I feel like 4 and 5 right now could be flip flopped either way. I could see Alabama still in the 4 spot if the playoff committee was being generous, but I could also see Georgia as well.
Any other comments about the college football top 25?
I mean, I would have honestly kept Bama at that 4 spot because even though they did lose to LSU, it was only a 5-point loss to a team that's now the number 1 team in the nation. And going back to Georgia's resume, even though it is a little bit better than Alabama's, you can't ignore that loss that Georgia had to South Carolina at home. And if you look at it, South Carolina's been a bad team this year. They just lost to Appalachian State this past Saturday, which jumped now into the top 25. But still, it wasn't a great loss at all. I understand it's kind of the heat of the moment where you've got to drop Alabama, but I wouldn't have dropped them 2 spots. I would have just kept them at number 4. And I see that's what the AP poll did. They kept them at number 4. So I like the AP polls ranking as far as their top 4 better than college football's top 4 ranking. But I still think Alabama's going to probably get in, especially if LSU keeps winning and Georgia keeps winning, because it's going to be a 1 versus 4 matchup in the SEC championship. And if Georgia loses, which I think they're going to, then Alabama's going to slide back into that number 4 spot. So I think it's not too much to worry about right now. But as of my preference, I would have kept Alabama at that 4 spot. And then Georgia still would be 5, followed by Oregon 6.
Jack, do you have any gripes about the top 25?
I don't have any gripes. I just think it's very interesting that we see Oregon and Utah right there together at 6 and 7. I had them at 5 and 6 in my top 6 yesterday before the poll came out. And I mean, just thinking about who saw a top 10 Pac-12 championship coming at the start of the season after we thought they were done after that Oregon loss.
I will say UCLA has something to say about that this weekend.
But we are careening right towards that, and I do like Minnesota at 8 more than 7 in the AP poll as far as the playoff rankings, and I will agree that Alabama would be my 4, considering if you just compare both of those losses, they're both playing essentially the same schedule, but with Alabama having a much better loss, in fact, a predicted loss rather than a home upset.
So, yes, they have losses, and Alabama has the better loss, but do we not take into account Georgia's wins against Notre Dame and Florida? One of them being neutral site?
I mean,
you can't just throw it out the window because they lost to South Carolina,
no,
right?
you can't. You can't. South Carolina, I mean, they could end up being Clemson. Who knows? I mean, that's far-fetched, but, that could give Georgia a boost.
2007 cold. They're ready.
That's
they're ready to go. They're ready to get in the game.
I mean, I feel like they could give Clemson a battle. I'm sure we'll talk about that later on. But who knows? South Carolina may end up redeeming Georgia's resume as far as that being a bad loss. But still, I just don't think Georgia will have that quality because who knows? Florida could lose this weekend to Missouri, a team that Georgia beat pretty handily. Florida could also, drop a few games here and there, maybe a Florida State or something like that. And
yeah, but in that situation, Auburn would just replace Florida as a good win.
That's true. I mean,
if Georgia wins, that being said, it is Georgia hate week. Roar.
There's a lot of things that could happen if Georgia, continues to be in the playoff push because I just don't know if Notre Dame and Florida are going to really bolster them. I think it's going to take like a win in the SEC championship against LSU.
And to kind of go off your point, Andy, it's not like Georgia dominated Notre Dame and Florida. That Notre Dame game, they only won by 6. Florida, they only beat by 7, and Florida was trying to mount a comeback in that 4th quarter. So it's not like Georgia absolutely obliterated these teams. I mean, Georgia's looked great on defense, but their offense hasn't been that strong at all this year. It's been really conservative. Jake Fromm's kind of been more of a game manager at times. So despite the top wins, they haven't been convincing enough, I feel like, for Georgia to kind of get more street cred, I'd say.
Has the committee disrespected Baylor?
No, they haven't. Why? It's because Baylor, I think they've had really good wins, but they haven't had the wins that all these people ahead of them have. And I think a win against Oklahoma, you'll see them move up like 5-6 spots. I think once the committee sees them beat a good Oklahoma team, then you'll see them move up. If you look at Minnesota, they went up 9 spots in the college football playoff game. That's one win against Penn State. It's got to be the same thing for Baylor if they are able to beat Oklahoma.
Yeah, they've been treading on thin ice lately, too. I think that's kind of hurt their cause because they only beat West Virginia by 3 at home. That could have been a loss. And for sure, they could have lost at TCU if not for their kicker making a 50-plus yard field goal at the end of regulation to send that to overtime. And they struggled and went to 3 overtimes and won 29-23. But their wins haven't been that convincing. So I think that's what's kind of hurt them because for college football, it's all about style points, how you beat somebody, when you beat them, where you beat them, and whatnot. So I think for Baylor, they're kind of losing out on some style points right now because they're winning, but they're kind of winning by the thinnest of margins, and that's not something you would want to have represent in a top 4 for a college football playoff.
All right. Is there anything else about the college football playoff that we want to get into?
I think it's interesting that the differences in the back half of the poll. Texas is a huge mover, way up from 22 in the AP poll to 19 in the playoff poll. Boise State drops from 19 to 21. Oklahoma State is 25 in the AP. They are 22 in the playoff poll. And then K-State and App State are in the poll while they are not in the AP poll. Indiana absent from the playoff poll.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing there. That's a Geneva violation. Where's Indiana at? Where are the Hoosiers?
I guess they got booted for App State. That's the only difference in the
App
poll.
State had their chance and they lost. Get me Indiana in there.
Yeah, bring back 9-win Indiana.
Yeah. But yeah, the playoffs as they go along, I know people have their conceptions about them and things like that, but I do think it sets up a very interesting weekend for college football. I mean, look at these games that we have. We have number 4 Georgia going to number 12 Auburn. We still have Michigan State, which I know it's not the same thing, but we still got that going on. We have a ranked Navy versus Notre Dame. That should be interesting enough. Wake and Clemson, which Andy, I think you were talking either on the show or during the break about how Wake was going to be Clemson's I say signature win. That's a little bit of a stretch, but good win, right? Because Wake was ranked. Clemson's now a 34.5-point favorite against 7-2 Wake, who may be the second or third best team in the ACC, depending on how you go about that. Oh no. Texas just had to be ranked for this week. Texas has to go to Ames, Iowa to play Iowa State, and we know what happens in there. And you got Minnesota and Iowa. That should be a good one. Oklahoma, Baylor. That should be a good one. Yeah, a lot of good games. By the way, UCLA, Utah, the game that I keep talking about, 21-point favorite Utah is. But you better watch out. UCLA is coming for you. But with that being said, anything else with the college football top 25 before we head to our quick commercial break?
Hey, Jared, don't sleep on Penn State getting beat for a second straight week because they play Indiana at home.
Man, 9-win Indiana, it's here. It's real, and it's it. It's right here, right? I think the big thing for Indiana, let's see, Jack was on the show when I said it yesterday, but one of the big quotes coming out of Indiana right now is after they're ranked in AP, but not in the other poll, which I know it sucks, but they said, if you don't think that we can go on the road for the first time in program history and beat Penn State at Penn State, because they've never done it in program history, then don't get on the bus. Indiana about to go in and beat somebody up. And I don't know who's about to be, but somebody's about to get got in Penn State. So that being said, we're going to head to a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we'll have more of the Extra Point here on WGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad.
Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What?
No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm gonna do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up.
See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time.
What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Unexpected reactions to smart financial decisions brought to you by feedthepig.org.
Well, I finally did it. I opened a 401k.
So you're giving up? Just like that?
Giving up on what?
On getting an inheritance from a distant relative.
Don't you think if there were a billionaire in the family, we'd know about it by now?
Listen to me. We are one phone call away from riding horses on our own private polo grounds. One call from christening yachts, having a butler, using summer as a verb.
How do you figure?
Look, everyone's got a rich uncle somewhere. It's statistics. So the best thing you can do is just prepare for the inevitable.
Right, which is why I thought maybe it would be smart to take control of my finances. You know, start using a budget, get out of debt, set some retirement goals.
Budgets? Debt? You watch your mouth. Retirement shouldn't be a goal for us. It should be a way of life.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
And welcome back on Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV. Hello, everybody. Jared Dillard, and joining me in the studio is Andy Hill and Javon Cutler and Jack Hart. 45 minutes in. Got about 10 minutes until we head to our top of the hour break. As some more news coming in. Let's go baseball. MLB baseball. And I'm like, Jared, wait a second. The World Series happened already. We're not going to talk about baseball until like another year when playoffs start again, right? No, because something else happened in baseball. And it's all about the Houston Astros. There's a report that the Houston Astros used a center field camera to help steal signs during the 2007 championship season. A former pitcher for the team told The Athletic. Yeah, it's not good. It's a practice that would have run afoul of rules against using technology for advantage and has prompted an investigation. It was Mike Fiers, I believe that's how you say that, who now pitches for the Athletics, ironically, told the website that he warned teammates that the Detroit Tigers and A's that he warned teammates with the Detroit Tigers and the A's that Astros hitters had used a video feed piped into a monitor near the dugout to decode signs and relay them to hitters during games. If you found the video online, it's a video that I think it's I think it was the Tigers playing the Astros, and you can hear somebody banging, giving out like signs or cues about pitches coming. Very interesting thing. I wonder how baseball goes about this. Yeah. Some very interesting stuff. What's kind of the reactions from this? I say bombshell stuff because that puts a little bit of I don't want to say it puts an asterisk on the World Series championship, but it kind of puts an asterisk on the World Series championship from 2017. And if you look at their home and away record during the 2017 postseason, I believe they were 8-1 at home and 3-6 on the road. So what's kind of the thought process behind the Astros?
I read a book called Astro Ball, and this book was about the 2017 World Series championship by the Astros, and there was great detail put into the Astros pitching coach and how good he was at identifying when pitchers were tipping their pitches. For example, Yu Darvish in the World Series, the Astros absolutely shelled him because he was very clearly tipping his pitches. This kind of casts a little distortion on that. Was Yu Darvish tipping his pitches, or was he just really good at figuring out or was giving really clear signs to his catcher.
Well, and the thing is, didn't it just happen with the Rays? They were playing the Astros, and there was the whole thing about pitches being tipped.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
It literally just happened this year, too.
Yeah, with Glasnow in Game 5.
Yeah.
The Astros jumped all over Glasnow, and as I watched that, I was like, oh, wow, it must be that great Astros pitching coach and not that great Astros computer in center field. So, yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. This is I would like to get some more information about this. Let's figure out how widespread this is and how damning evidence this is going to be. But you really don't like to see it, especially an organization like the Astros that's been in all kinds of trouble for all kinds of different things since they've been successful, since they've shed their Disastros title and become a relevant team.
Yeah, I mean, it really puts a damper. I mean, I think I said it yesterday to Ryan Walker, who does the Run Express and now Honey Butter Show. I said, man, the Astros, if you think about it, in the last couple of weeks, they've lost 3 series. They had the incident with the reporter. They lost to that. They had the actual World Series. They lost to that. And now it looks like they're about to get into a battle with the MLB, and they may lose that. So, anybody else, any comments about the Houston Astros and kind of what they're getting up into?
Well, I find it funny. I'm looking at this ESPN article right here saying they was talking about the different breakdowns of their season to see if they could find any stats that stand out. And one thing is interesting that their hitting in the 2017 season was better on the road, and they had a better road record than they did at home. But there's video proof, if you go on YouTube, there's a video proof of Evan Gattis against the Chicago White Sox. There's video evidence here that you can see the Houston players and employees would bang loudly on a garbage can to relay pitches.
I don't know what to say.
What are you going to do?
I mean, yeah, what are you going to do? Maybe they like drumming on trash cans. I don't know. Or maybe they were telling them what pitch was coming next. And the thing is, if you watch the video, like, it's not like it's not like a coincidence that somebody was banging and the same pitch was being thrown. Like, there was a rhythm for a different pitch, right? Like, you could easily figure out what pitch was coming next because of the banging, right? So, guess the Astros are in trouble now. I don't know what to say. I mean, you hate to see it in baseball because, baseball as a sport, I mean, it just seems like nothing is on the up and up in baseball. You had the PED use, and then you have all this juice and ball nonsense, right, that we heard this year. And then now we have this stuff. It's like, do people not know how to play fairly in baseball, or is that just not a thing?
I guess not. They're just desperate to get people to watch. And speaking of that, Jared, I did look up when more people watch hockey or baseball, and man, was I wrong. Game 7, Blues versus Bruins, racked up 8.7 million viewers.
Solid.
Game 7, Nationals versus Astros, racked up over 23 million viewers. So almost 3 times as many for a less exciting series.
And I believe LSU Alabama racked up, I think, 16 million for a regular season game.
Yeah.
Jack, we really appreciate your love for hockey and what you do for the Weagle 91.1 coverage, but football and baseball are always going to get more views than hockey.
Football and basketball are going to get more views.
That's basketball, so
yeah.
I will put an asterisk that that's just on NBC, so our friends to the north do not count in that one. So
yeah,
but man, that's quite a deficit.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to make that one up. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to sports, I mean, it's NFL and NBA, and then it's kind of just everybody else in whatever order that you want to put them in. But, it is what it is. With that being said, is there any other outstanding news from this morning that you guys want to talk about right quick? It's only about a couple minutes until we head to our top of the hour break.
I mean, there's the news about Colin Kaepernick that's been kind of circulating. He's having a private workout, I believe, at the Falcons facility outside of Atlanta. So
yeah,
there'll be some teams showing up for that, and he'll be able to kind of do his thing and interview with different teams and stuff like that. So that'll be an interesting storyline to hear what comes out of that as far as Kaepernick's workout.
I was going to save that for the other side of the break. See, I think I mean, I think obviously we know that that's going to take more than 2 minutes to talk about.
Hey, and since I'm not on the other side of the break, I will say that Stephen A. likes Kaepernick to the Bears. You know who else likes Kaepernick to the Bears?
Cam Newton.
This guy.
Oh.
So Cam Newton stays in Carolina.
Did you see the report by one of the NFL guys? Not Schefter, the other one.
Oh, I know you're talking about.
Starts with an R.
Rappaport?
Yeah, Rappaport.
Yeah.
He saw what he said.
Tell me more, Jared.
Jack, you may want to cover your ears on this one. But he said, pretty much, I'll say it like this. To his understanding, Cam Newton would be okay with the trade to the Bears.
I did see that. Okay. And Jared, I'm going to send you, while I'm gone, I'm going to send you a picture of Mitch Trubisky wearing number 1 for the Panthers. And I want you to chuckle during the show.
I'm not going to chuckle. I'm going to be depressed because Kyle Allen, you would take Kyle Allen over Mitch Trubisky, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say. You ain't stupid. With that being said.
Wait, LeBron and Kyler Murray. Did you see that?
LeBron and Kyler Murray doing what?
They dapped up. Kyler Murray was sitting courtside at the Phoenix game.
Man, I don't want to talk about that because Phoenix lost. And now my Phoenix is a top 4 seed thing is kind of.
Hey, I mean, it's going to be Lakers, someone, in Phoenix. I mean, just.
Hey, I mean, speaking of Phoenix, in the G League, Jared Harper scored 34 points in his debut a couple of days ago.
Jared Harper is doing well.
Yep.
And, if he was playing on Golden State, he'd be starting at this point. But
Jared, I'll serve you one up for the next hour as well. Your beloved Mark Cuban, owner of the Dallas Mavs, is a big fan of load management in the NBA.
Well, with that being said, we'll have to go to the top of the hour break. But thank you, Jack, for joining me on the show. Thank you, Andy, for joining me on the show. As in 5 minutes, when we come back, me and Javon will be joined by the scoreboard of Bay Marks and Jacob Hillman. So make sure you stick around. And at 11 o'clock, we'll be back with Extra Point here on WGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV.
Unexpected reactions to smart financial decisions brought to you by feedthepig.org.
Well, I finally did it. I improved my credit score.
You're kidding, right?
No.
How are we supposed to be the bad boys of electro-synth pop if you're out there being responsible? The band is about to be discovered. This is our year.
Yeah, you've been saying that for a while now.
You think anyone in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was worried about their credit score?
I never really thought that.
Of course they weren't. Rock stars aren't supposed to think about that kind of stuff. We're supposed to think about how many guitars we've smashed, write aggressively sensitive power ballads, start questionable fashion trends, tragically break up and blame creative differences.
All right. I thought maybe it was time to take control of my finances, you know? Start using a budget, get out of debt, set some goals.
A budget? Debt? Set some goals? Listen, I knew that we'd have our creative differences, but I was hoping they'd involve a little more scandal.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Dave, what are you doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck as a gift to Dave 2037, so he can spend it on things like anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman, something cool like that. I think Dave 2037 deserves it. He worked hard. What are you getting Steve 2037?
I guess I was thinking Steve 2037 would just fend for himself.
Well, all right, but don't expect to be borrowing my anti-gravity boots.
You want to have money in your future? You got to start saving now. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Hey, let's just hope Steve 2037 doesn't get his hands on a cold time machine, because he is going to come back here and knock some sense into you.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her.
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard, so you don't need to mooch off your friends.
You gonna finish that grape? You mean the one in my mouth?
You don't need to stop buying the necessities.
What you're smelling is a natural musk.
Ew.
You don't need to be a medical test subject.
How do you feel? Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman. Let's break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal.
Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
I loved playing high school sports. I loved the competition, the camaraderie, the bands, the crowds, all the pageantry, and I wanted to keep playing. But I graduated. No colleges called, and neither did the pros. So, to stay close to the game I loved, I decided to become a high school official. You know, a referee. When I played high school sports, I learned the importance of integrity, good sportsmanship, and respect for the rules. Now, as a high school official, I get to help model these same values to others. Maybe the colleges and the pros didn't call, but the kids in Alabama did. And now, I'm enjoying the competition, the camaraderie, the bands, the crowds, and all the pageantry of high school sports all over again.
This message presented by the Alabama High School Athletic Association and the Alabama High School Athletic Directors and Coaches Association.
Come on, Dad. I'm running circles around you.
I know, sweetie. Dad's not very fast these days.
What about yesterday? Were you fast yesterday?
No, not.
Or the day before that?
I
Or the day before that?
Actually, I wasn't ever really fast. Hard to believe, I know.
Kids are special. Let's treat them that way.
That's okay. When I was little, I wasn't fast either. Now I'm fast, so you'll be fast tomorrow. That's how it works. Now come on.
At St. Baldrick's Foundation, we want kids to be kids, not just during trips to the park, but when they need us most, when they need help fighting cancer. That's why the advanced research we fund is specifically designed to help children.
I'm pooped after all this.
Dad, you're supposed to do that in the bathroom.
Support St. Baldrick's and childhood cancer research today by going to stbaldricks.org and getting involved.
The following is the production of WEGL 91.1 FM.
That ball is gone! It's a walk-off home run for Stephen Williams!
WEGL Sports,
The Tigers are headed to the College World Series!
where every
Lewis is gonna score! Touchdown Auburn! Touchdown Auburn!
game
They're not gonna keep him off the field tonight! Holy cow!
lives.
Hey, look, mommy!
Welcome back inside the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV. Hello, everybody. Jared Dillard. And join me in the studio, Bay Marks, Javon Cutler, and Jacob Hillman. Bay, we will start with you. Man, how you doing this morning?
Doing well, Jared. Glad to be here on the Extra Point once again. And I hope you're doing well as yourself.
You know, I'm actually really hungry.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a pack of crackers.
I was about to say, I got some
somewhere.
crackers if you want some.
But yesterday, our station manager, Brent Askew, she saw the video that we have on YouTube where we were throwing candy at each other in the studio. And maybe I'm thin ice right now. So let's not. But let's go over to Jacob Hillman. Jacob, let me go ahead and beat you to it. It was 16 degrees this morning.
Yeah, too cold.
How you feeling?
Well, it wasn't 16 degrees when I walked out of the door, so it was better than that. But it's still chilly and ready for the temperature to rise up a little bit and not be too cold. I'm ready for the nice 40 and 50 degrees and not this frigid temperature. But other than that, since we talked about in the break, yeah, I got Disney Plus, and I'm excited for all the Star Wars stuff that comes with it, and The Mandalorian is really good.
Well,
I'm not sorry, Jared, for putting that out there.
Well, I've never watched Star Wars. Well, I take that back. I've watched 20 minutes of Rogue One, and then that was it. It was for a paper. I still got an A on the paper. That's all that really matters. And now, to make all the Star Wars people upset, I'm going to watch that new one on Disney Plus and not watch any of the other ones.
I mean, to be honest, you probably won't. It won't. I mean, you probably know the biggest like spoilers of it and stuff.
Did I ever tell you what my favorite quote in Star Wars was?
No, you said something about it in the group message, but you didn't say what it was.
I said my favorite quote in Star Wars is "Live long and prosper." Yeah, that should make a lot of Star Wars people upset. It's on site. I don't really care for Star Wars. I don't see all the hoopla about it, but then again, I don't want to get beat up in the studio, so I'm going to go ahead and stop talking about it.
Yeah, I'm not even going to get mad about it because there's too much I can get mad about.
With that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. With Jacob and Bay joining the program, let's talk about right quick. We can just recap. We talked about in the first hour. Let's hit it again. How are the heart rates after Auburn basketball last night?
Not good.
Yeah,
Not good.
It's not healthy for your heart.
I was very prepared for the loss because I had been predicting it for pretty much a month. But, you know, with 5 minutes left when Auburn's up 12 or 13 or whatever it was, I had accepted that Auburn was going to win, and accepted as in was excited that Auburn was going to win. And then obviously they almost killed my dreams that I had for maybe 3 minutes. So yeah, Auburn still got some kinks to work out, but man, Isaac Okoro is the best player on that team, and it's not close.
Yeah, I said it on the Extra Point Monday that I thought that this game would be a lot closer than the Davidson game, and it would come down to like a 2 or 3 point game. Obviously, it was a 1 point game. And I completely agree with Jacob. I think Isaac really controlled the floor. He was Auburn's best player by far. And Auburn had great contribution off the bench with Jamal Johnson, scored a career high at Auburn, 14 points. And then Anthony McLemore contributing with 14. He kind of started the season slow on the offensive side of the court. But that's really good to get that supporting role off the bench of those two guys. I mean, you also had Stretch come in on his first possession. I believe it was on his first possession when he got that block.
5 seconds.
Yeah,
that's all it took.
That's a testament to what he's going to be in the future for this Auburn program. But great road win. Auburn has this tough non-con early with Davidson in South Alabama. And this was great for Auburn to get back under the belt. And I'm sure that Bruce is happy to come back home Friday and play in front of a home crowd.
The free throws suck.
Yeah, so let's talk about the free throws. 54.5%.
I think part of it is being away from Auburn. You know, sightlines are different. But I don't think that's an excuse you can completely use. It's a little bit different than shooting a 3-point shot and whatnot. But it's something that should come to Auburn. I mean, Wiley's never been a good free throw shooter.
Hey,
he shot 2 for 2.
Yeah,
2 for 2.
That's the thing. Yeah, I didn't even look at his stats, but he was 100%. But Okoro, and especially McCormick.
I was about to say, McCormick, your starting point guard.
They've got to do better.
Yeah, you can't have that.
McLemore, I feel like he should be doing a little bit better. He's also a center. And then Flanagan, if he's going to keep getting those minutes, he's going to need to make his free throws as well. I mean, they're the ones that didn't perform at the free throw line. Everyone else was like 100%, so they need to keep that up. But it's just one of those things where early in the season, if it's a problem, you always hold out hope that the team will find it, but you never know.
Yeah. I mean, Auburn, the start of it was and then they got really good at the end of the first half, and then really good in the second half. And that final, let's say, 8 minutes on, man, I was trying to relax last night. Auburn didn't help. And I got done watching Auburn basketball, and I took a shower, and I went to sleep. I couldn't do it anymore. I just can't do it. Yeah. But still, hey, look, at this point, win's a win.
I was about to say, I wouldn't complain.
Don't take them for granted because
this will probably be, just like Davidson probably will be, this will probably be a really good win on the resume whenever they win their conference.
And this is also the third game of the season with
a team that hasn't played a lot together because, like we keep saying, Jared Harper, Bryce Brown, and Chuma are gone, with Malik and Horace gone. So these guys are still trying to find their groove. And this in a really hostile environment with this, veteran team that they're playing, like Jacob said, down the road, we'll look back at this as well as Davidson last week and realize these were 2 great wins away from home.
I mean, it could always be worse. We could be Kentucky.
I thought you were going to say Alabama.
I mean,
well, that too.
What's that one? Wait, what Alabama do? I missed it.
No, they lost a pin. That's what
I was just saying. Yeah, they lost a pin.
Oh, yeah,
I know where you were going with that.
Yeah, lost to those nerds. But no, Kentucky lost even worse. The Purple Aces of Evansville.
Where are they? They're from Indiana, right?
Yeah, what Jack said, the 8th best team in Indiana.
I mean, debatable. I don't know. I can't name 7 teams.
Apparently, some poll in Indiana put them as the 8th best college basketball team.
I think Jack was referring to. I think he kind of confused the terms, but I think they were picked 8th to finish in the Missouri Valley Conference. Yeah, not the 8th best team in Indiana.
By the way, the Missouri Valley Conference, I believe in the last 7 attempts are 4-3 against number 1 teams.
Yeah, I did see that stat.
So it's on site. If you're a number 1 team and you have a Missouri Valley Conference team on your schedule, you better watch out because they're coming for you.
Well, see, this is how this always goes. This upset happens, and then they do terrible in conference play. And the loss looks really bad, but it doesn't matter because it happened in the 3rd game of the season, and no one remembers it. So it's just it's just one of those weird things.
Evansville beat Kentucky 67-64. Bad loss for Kentucky. I think I went through in the first hour. Kentucky never lost to a unranked non-conference opponent as the number 1 team in the nation.
Well,
that's over.
That rarely happens.
Yeah.
So
it's like all these 18 things have to happen for this stat to be true.
The last time that happened, and did you say at home or not?
They were number 1 team at home.
Okay, yeah. The last time that happened was like 1984. Kansas lost to somebody.
Let's see what else happened. Evansville never has beaten a number 1 team before. That's over. I think this is the first time in basketball history that 2 number 1 teams have lost in the month of November because they usually don't lose in the beginning. That's over. Evansville coach, by the way, former Kentucky Wildcat, who won a national championship there. So, ain't no love lost for the Kentucky alumni.
Well, not hurts. It helps when you're a road team and you shoot over 92% from the free throw line.
I don't know if that. I don't have that feeling. I don't know what that feels like, Bay, because my team didn't do that.
I know, but they did. And it helped them take down the number 1 team.
Also, it was actually 1993. Kansas lost to Long Beach State as the number 1 team in the country, regular season non-conference play at home.
Go Long Beach State Cougars.
I don't think that's right.
That doesn't sound
look it up.
right.
They're from California. I don't think they're the Cougars.
Oh, okay. What are they? The Tide or something like that?
Long Beach. Can't type. Long Beach State.
I just took a wild guess.
They are the 49ers.
What?
Man,
What?
That's so generic. That's like every team down here being named Tigers. Every team over in California is the 49ers. How about you figure out something else? How about that?
There probably are 2 teams. Well, no, there's another team, the 49ers. There's the Charlotte 49ers. And
they're just confused. They don't know what they're talking about.
Well, maybe they're
confused.
I'm looking up where the origin is from that.
Look at the history of the Charlotte 49ers. Let's figure out how confused they are. Well, that being said, is there anything else in college basketball they want to get into? Do we talk about James Wiseman for about a good 3 minutes? And how, Memphis lost last night to Oregon. That's what it is. But, he's still playing. Now, when Memphis has to, vacate all those wins that they have under him, oh well. We'll see what happens. But, that's kind of it for college basketball, just recapping that. After this break, we'll quickly hit the college ball playoff top 25 again and just see if Bay or Jacob, put your names together, if they have any gripes with it. And then we'll continue on there. We're going to get into the NFL near the 11:30 mark, and then we'll just, wherever the tide takes us.
This is only November, Jared, as Sean Rothstein would say.
It's true. It's true. It is only November, but...
I mean, it's a fact, but...
we sleep in May.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we sleep in June whenever it becomes May. And then we sleep in July when it becomes June.
Like, I don't know where you guys are going with this. I don't know where this segment's going anymore.
I guess you don't follow John Rothstein on Twitter?
I barely use Twitter.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, the only time I usually...
You're a boomer.
Yeah, I am. Okay, you guys need to stay off my lawn. All right, make sure that you're quiet around 8 o'clock when I'm trying to go to bed. Okay, and things like that.
Okay, Boomer.
All right, with that, I feel attacked.
I feel like Jacob's not gonna be on the show Friday morning anymore.
He's the one walking here and complain about the weather every day.
Yeah,
that's a good point. That is a good point.
I'm the one that acts like a boomer.
That being said, let's go. Yeah, like a boomer. I'm trying to go to break, right? Yeah, like a boomer talking about the weather, plays golf a lot. Yeah, who's a real boomer here?
Okay, well, I'm like 5 years younger than you are, so
Don't bring that up. Well, that being said, we're gonna head to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll stop yelling at each other, and we'll start yelling at the College Football Playoff Committee if we have any gripes about that, and then we'll go into the NFL. You're watching and listening to Extra Point here on WGL 911 and Eagle Eye TV.
Okay, Simon, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. And what do people normally wear?
Clothes.
Exactly. So now Mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Clothes keep us warm, they look good, and if we go out without them, the neighbors will talk. So it's important to know how to get dressed. Here's how it's done. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole, or you have to start all over. If you're wearing a tie, it goes over, round, through, and pull tight. Tuck your shirt into your pants and zip up your fly. Socks going first, then shoes right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops. The rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears.
I love bunnies.
Good to know. Now remember, spots don't go with stripes, socks don't go with sandals, and if you've tucked in your shirt, wear a belt. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home walk restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet. Fingerling. Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
Ain't no mercy, ain't no mercy.
Welcome back inside the Extra Point here on WGL 911 and Eagle Eye TV. Hello, everybody. Jared Dillard, and joining me in the studio is Bay Marks, Javon Cutler, and Jacob Hillman. Let's quickly talk about the College Football Top 25 again. Are there any current gripes with it?
Not for the most part. I mean, outside looking in at the 7th spot is Utah. That might be the only one that I'm a little skeptical on. I think they definitely deserve to be in the top 10, but maybe at that 10 or 9 spot. I don't think 7 is the right spot for them just because they've only beaten one ranked team this year. That's Arizona State, and they're no longer ranked anymore, and it wasn't super impressive besides their defense in that game. So that's the only team I would have just a little bit farther down and move up Minnesota, Penn State, and Oklahoma as well. I'd put them at that 10 spot. But the top 6, for the most part, perfect. That's exactly what I would have made it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I would have exactly put Georgia. I mean, I don't think it really matters having Georgia or Alabama right there. I mean, it should matter because the committee is showing what they're, what I don't know what the word is. How they do it.
Their criteria?
Yes, their criteria. That's what I'm looking for. But, I mean, Alabama and Georgia are going to work themselves out. I guess there could be some doomsday scenario where every undefeated team. I saw one where there's like 8 teams with 1 loss, and it's who knows what the heck happens. Where I think Georgia wins the SEC, Clemson loses one, but still ACC champion. Minnesota's 1 loss, Big Ten champion, and it's just straight chaos. But
yeah, that's what I like to hear.
Me too. But I don't think that's going to matter as much. I really do think that coming down to it, it's going to be between Alabama and the Pac-12 champion over who gets into that 4 spot. I mean, at the moment, if it's Oregon and Alabama gets in because they would. This is assuming they beat Auburn. They would have the head-to-head over Auburn. And if it's Alabama and Utah, I don't really know what they're going to do because Utah would be a Pac-12 champion. Alabama didn't make it to their conference championship.
Oh,
so
well, I will say this about the Pac-12 champion. You know, Jack was talking about how who would have thought we'd have a top 10 Pac-12 championship, right? And I was like, hold on tight, because somebody got to play UCLA this weekend. And the Bruins, we want to watch out for them. UCLA has won 3 straight games. They are second in their division. The Bruins are actually doing pretty decently well. They had the same route as Tennessee throughout this year. They were kind of the laughing stock, and then now they're at where they are at. I will ask a couple of questions about the playoffs. Do you think Baylor has been disrespected, being at 13 still?
I don't think
they've been behind a couple of 2-loss teams in Auburn and Florida.
No,
not necessarily. Just because you look at Baylor's, resume, it hasn't been super impressive, and they've also squeaked out wins against unimpressive teams. But if I'm going to stick true to my overreaction Monday from the Monday show, I think that they're going to get it done against Oklahoma this weekend at home. Just for some weird reason, I think if they win that game, definitely cracks the top 10 and maybe the top 8.
If they do that and after that they're still not making a launch like Minnesota did, then they'll be disrespected. But right now it's okay because they're undefeated. I won't say they control their own destiny because an undefeated Big 12 champion should probably get in over a 1-loss Pac-12 champion and a 1-loss Alabama that didn't make their conference championship. But honestly, who knows? Because of what we've seen in the past. I mean, potentially we could see 4 undefeated teams in the college football playoff. I doubt that's ever happened before. So confidently I can say that didn't happen. But it's one of those things where even though they're 13 right now, a win over Oklahoma should put them up there right in the middle, probably with Minnesota, maybe above them. I don't know, probably not, because Minnesota's win over Penn State was so impressive. So we'll see what happens next week before I can answer that, to be honest.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, with that being said, let's segue out of college football and let's get into the NFL. And Javon, you kind of brought it up right before we had to the top of the hour. But the big news in the NFL right now is that this weekend there is a workout for Colin Kaepernick. As it's a workout being done. Did the NFL put together this workout for Colin Kaepernick, Javon? Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't. Off the top of my head, I would say no. I know they chose the date because Kaepernick's representatives tried to get a different workout date, but they said no. So it might be an NFL kind of ordeal for this.
Yeah. So the NFL chose the date and when he gives his workout, because he put out a tweet and he said, "I'm just getting word from my representatives that the NFL league office reached out to them about a workout in Atlanta on Saturday. I've been in shape and ready for this for 3 years. Can't wait to see the head coaches and GMs on Saturday." So it was kind of, for him, at least by the tweet, it's kind of out of the blue. Maybe we didn't expect this day, but maybe there's some teams out there that need a quarterback. And now Colin Kaepernick is gearing up. He's been he's been practicing with a private team for the past little bit now. So I think it's interesting to see what teams think about him.
I'm more concerned about what teams will show up.
I know the Dolphins coach said that they're going to have somebody show up, so that's one team.
Tank for Kaepernick. That was the whole plan all along.
The only concern, the way you can look at it is, I believe Colin Kaepernick's only 32 years old, if my memory serves me right.
That's true.
So he still does have a few good years left in that body. The only concerning thing, if you're Kaepernick in his head, would probably be, this draft class this year with quarterbacks is going to be very heavy. So I think the only concern for him would be teams wanting to take a younger quarterback instead of only having him for a few more years, because I don't know. There's both sides to it. There's a team that needs a veteran quarterback now that will take Kaepernick, or there's teams that are concerned with the age and wanting to take a younger quarterback. So there's two different sides to it.
Yeah, teams like Well, I mean, there is one team that's kind of in a precarious position right now.
I'm saying the Steelers.
And the Steelers, I feel that they're high on Mason Rudolph.
All he does is throw dump off passes and quick routes. Like he can't push the ball downfield. He's not the answer for them.
And you're right. I feel like teams like the Steelers, who we don't know the status of Ben Roethlisberger for next year, right? I mean, we assume that he'll be healthy and maybe he'll come back. Don't really know. A team, I hate to do this to you, Jacob, like the Panthers that have Kyle Allen, Cam's still there. Cam needs to be healthy first, but there's still a question mark. And maybe the Panthers don't believe Kyle Allen's the key. Maybe they think they can be a little more Cam-esque offensively with somebody like Colin Kaepernick.
The thing about this, though, is, and this is kind of going back to Bay's point about maybe the long-term thing, I don't think any team would pick him up and commit to a long-term.
You think he's more of a stopgap?
Yeah. This season, the rest of the season, like the Steelers would be a perfect example. They're right in that playoff hunt in the AFC, so if they could get a spark from him, they can possibly make it play. I mean, think about the games they've lost. They're all against very good teams. So
the Patriots, Seahawks, and 49ers, and the Ravens.
Exactly. So if they can get a spark from him, make it to the playoffs, they can definitely make a run in the playoffs if he continues to play well. But no team is going to commit to him considering he hasn't played football in 3 years.
Because think about it, Jared. In this draft class, you have your Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, Justin Herbert, possibly Jake Fromm if he doesn't come back for a fourth year. I mean, and there's probably numerous other guys I'm forgetting about.
One other thing is
Jacob Eason.
Jacob Eason.
Yeah.
That the Steelers don't have that first-round draft pick.
They don't, and that's kind of the scary part for the Steelers is that even if we want to get a quarterback, it won't be until the second round. Mm-hmm. And is that a big priority for us? I'm sure there's other things they got to go fill other than quarterback. And if we can get Colin Kaepernick to be the stopgap for maybe a year or two, to where we can build up and get that and get a quarterback, I don't know. I mean, I honestly think if Joe Burrow was actually the third or fourth quarterback in the draft, it would have been a real good steal to go get him for the Steelers. But now Joe Burrow may be the first quarterback taken, and God help him if he goes to Cincinnati. Because, yeah. But, no, it is a very interesting situation because it comes down to, well, how long do you want him around, right? Is he a stopgap? Is he the answer for a team that's on the cusp? Like, well, no, this team's out of it now. I was going to say like Jacksonville, but they have Gardner Minshew, who's done very well, and he deserves that if Nick Foles leaves or goes down again. He deserves that. Teams like the Raiders, where Derek Carr is good, and then there's weeks where you're kind of like a Derek Carr, and you're like, man,
it feels
what's going on?
It feels like that Thursday night against the Chargers, all he threw was 3-yard curl routes. That's all he threw. That's what it felt like.
Yeah. So, I mean, not that Derek Carr's played bad, but also he has his moments.
Well, this isn't out of complete possibility, but maybe even Tennessee. I mean, I know they've been battling between Mariota, Tannehill. I mean,
battling.
Oh yeah, I think that's also an organization that's unsure of their future quarterback position. They're only a game behind the Colts in that division, so I don't know.
I think another interesting team to keep an eye on is the Bears because Trubisky's not the answer. They have a great defense. They're kind of in a win-now situation, right, where they just need a spark from quarterback, whether that's Colin Kaepernick, whether that's the report about Cam Newton.
But based off the report that came out today, it probably wouldn't have until the offseason.
It wouldn't have until the offseason, yeah. That's important to keep in mind. Trades are done. Offseason will be where it's at. I think the Bears are likely. I think that's a interesting situation because they're in that win now. The Bears are a perfect situation. They have a great defense. They don't need to rebuild. They're in a win now, which means if they're in the win now, they can buy a couple years, right? They're not going to have I don't even know what the Bears draft pick situation is right now because of all the trades they've done, right? I have no idea they even have the first round pick this year.
I don't think they do.
I think the Raiders got their first round pick from last year, but I don't know if they also got it for this year as well. So I got to go look at the Bears draft situation. But I think the Bears are a really good situation for Kaepernick or a stopgap quarterback.
I think that is a good move because, like you said, Jared, they do have a great defense, but also they have decent receivers. I mean, you've got a Allen Robinson, who is a solid receiver. You've got a Taylor Gabriel, who's kind of the shifty guy. And imagine a read option where you have Colin Kaepernick. You've still got Tariq Cohen. You've got David Montgomery, so they've got a nice little situation as far as the offense. It's just the quarterback that's holding these guys back. And if you get rid of Trubisky, have Kaepernick, we all know he's not the most accurate passer, but he can make passes and give him a strong defense. The Bears would jump, I think, right into the thick of the NFC race.
Yeah. Well, that being said, let's go ahead and let's head to a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we'll have more of the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV.
With every single level that I reach and I climb, they ask, are you from outside? Everything around me I create with my mind. Working to.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
El que San Jude no cobra ni un centavo para nosotros significa quitarnos todo ese estrés, esa preocupación y podernos enfocar en nuestra hija.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When St. Jude told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. I help people solve difficult and trying personal problems every day on my TV show, but there's one problem that's just got me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. That's 1 in 5 kids who may not know where their next meal is coming from, despite the fact that there's more than enough healthy, nutritious food out there to feed them all. Now, I don't know about you, but that is unacceptable to me. Luckily, the Feeding America network of good people is out there collecting surplus food and giving hope to hungry children and their families at local food banks all across the country. But let's face it, they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Tasted blood and it is sweet. I've had the rug pulled beneath my feet.
Welcome back to Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV. Hello, everybody. Jared Dillon, and joining me in the studio is Bay Marks, Javon Cutler, and Jacob Hillman. Let's move over to the National Basketball Association. As news coming out of there and some big games for tonight. Oh yeah, there's some big games tonight. As let's talk about Anthony Davis. He's currently playing through a little bit of an injury right now, but LeBron gave him credit for that. He said, man, AD's the man. Simply put.
I do love that you said big games tonight. You immediately moved to the Lakers and Warriors, before the season thing. Oh, yeah, but not right now. I think we know how this game's going to turn out. But on the note of AD, he's one of those guys where every 5 games he has to go to the locker room. It's weird. So, yeah, he should probably have learned to play through it by now, considering he's done it his entire career, and he needs to deal with these little injuries so he can play a full season. So I don't know. It's one of those things where it seems like every 5 games you get the notification, Anthony Davis enters the locker room, questionable return, yada, yada, yada. He's back 2 games later.
Yeah.
So,
man, so some of those things going on right now. Look at this one right here. Paul George leaning toward debuting tomorrow. Oh, who's the unlucky team that gets the Clippers?
Pelicans, I believe.
Oh, no.
I thought he was playing tonight.
Tonight's at Houston.
No, that's too hard.
He's out.
That's too hard.
Yeah. So that's one of the big games tonight is Rockets, Clippers. That could be possibly a Western Conference Finals game. I know the Lakers may have something to say about that, but that's a possibility. Both teams 7-3. Houston a 2-point favorite at home. Another good game that you can watch out for tonight is Toronto and Portland. I know Portland's record is 4-7, but Toronto going on the road to Portland still should be interesting enough, as the Trailblazers, they lost 4 of the last 5, but they've battled. They lost to the Warriors and they lost to the Kings, but they beat the Hawks. They lost to a good Nets team, and they lost to the Clippers by 6.
Hey man, you're never out of it with Dame time.
It's true.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, when Dame has the ball, you better watch out.
When you see this, you better watch out.
You better watch out. And Golden State, LA, it was supposed to be a good game. Supposed to. Man, you know, every time I see the Warriors and I see the record 2-9 or whatever it is,
it's very weird.
I want to be depressed, but I'm so happy.
Same.
It's nice to have a shift.
Yeah.
Well, there's also question marks. I mean, there's.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
We're wondering, oh man, who's the team going to be in the West? We're not saying, oh, it's going to be the Warriors.
By the way, Warriors guard Damian Lee fractured his right hand.
Oh my God.
So there's also that.
Man.
I don't know if you guys caught that, but he fractured his right hand. Steph Curry, there's a report that he may be coming back this season instead of sitting out the whole season. He may, come back.
He shouldn't.
Yeah, it wouldn't be worth it.
He should help his team and not come back. Not because he's bad, but get a better draft pick.
That sets up an interesting situation. If a player goes down, broken hand, and it's a month or 2 injury, but the team and the player decides, oh, he won't play anymore this year. Like, does the NBA look at that and be like, no, that shouldn't be a thing? Because that's like saying tanking without saying it. Like, admittedly, yeah, we know he can come back in 2 weeks, but we'll sit him out for the season.
He's 3 months.
Yeah.
So he could come back around the All-Star break.
Yeah.
And
that's half the season.
Half season.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
That's like openly admitting to the NBA, yeah, we're not going to play him because.
But other teams have done it.
Yeah. Yeah, and the NBA has done what they can to fix the tanking issue, which is, obviously what we saw with the Pelicans getting the number 1 pick, and the Knicks getting what they got. Speaking of the Knicks players that came out to back up David Fizdale, as he's already on the hot seat.
Well, it's been like 2 weeks of the season.
Maybe. Like, man, it must be hard playing in New York.
Not in Brooklyn.
That's true.
They have
yeah. Well, we'll separate them. We'll say Brooklyn is a separate entity.
Brooklyn is New York, though.
I think if we had New York listeners, the phone would be exploding right now. Honestly, It's I feel like that's one of those things. I don't know, but I'm just saying. I feel like it's one of those things where it'd be on side with you.
I'm not from there, but correct me if I'm wrong. There's the city of New York, and it's breaking up into 5 different parts of Queens, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Bronx.
As a former New York resident,
okay,
oh my gosh,
Yankee. Yankee
was there for like 2 years.
He's a Yankee. He's a boomer.
I lived there from when I was 2 years old to 4 years old. So I'm the most credible to talk about this topic.
You are.
That's true.
Let me not go into public speaking mode for a second. But it is different. Brooklyn's kind of its own thing.
I feel like they separate themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, everybody in New York separates themselves. It's just kind of the New York thing.
Yeah.
Nobody's nice there.
Nope.
But I think that was the second most controversial thing said on this show this week was the whole New York being the same thing. The most controversial thing was when I accidentally called Ohio State Stadium the Big House.
Oh yeah.
And then
that's not controversial. That's just wrong.
I accidentally said, so and so has to go to Ohio State and play in the Big House, and I stopped. And I was like, Michigan fans, I'm sorry.
Did you mean the horseshoe?
Yes, I did. Yeah. I did mean the horseshoe, but I wanted something other than the horseshoe, so I just said the Big House, which usually is just generic for anything, right? Until I realized, the rival. That's the Big House. So, basketball, right? It must suck playing in New York. I wouldn't want to play there.
I think they just realized that they're not really trending upward right now, despite the efforts. They're not going anywhere again.
Have you seen the contracts they handed out this offseason?
Yes, Jared.
It ain't good.
No, it's not.
You say that's trying. I don't see trying.
It's just. They're just in a bad spot, and it's tough because that's such a historic organization, and it's in the biggest city in the world, so their fans expect a lot, and that's also one of the homes of basketball is New York, along with Chicago, and we can get into that debate. But I think this organization they're eager to get back on track, but they're not doing the necessary steps to do so, like Los Angeles did with LeBron and AD, because they were in the dumps too. So,
I mean,
they're trying.
I think it's also due to ownership too, because everybody kind of hates James Dolan.
Yeah.
He hasn't done much as far as building up that franchise, and I mean, the Knicks have been historical as a franchise, but it's not like they've been winning a bunch of titles. I think they've only won one since like 1970.
Probably.
So they haven't really done much historically. It's just that they're in New York, and a lot of people know them because of Spike Lee, who sits courtside, and all this type of stuff. But I think KD was right talking about Kevin Durant as far as people don't want to play for the Knicks anymore because they're not the hip franchise. I mean, they don't have as much cool stuff as like a Brooklyn, for instance, where they change their courts.
Which, by the way, ugly, but it's neither here nor there.
It is kind of ugly, but they also like honor some of their local hometown guys, like Biggie Smalls, for instance. They have like these jerseys that are kind of inspired by some wardrobes that Notorious B.I.G.'s wore. So they kind of integrate themselves more with the community than New York does. I think Brooklyn's able to do that because it is its own separate entity, like Jacob was saying. Because in Manhattan, it's just a lot of hustle and bustle. People are going every which way. It's kind of hard to, I feel like, sit down and kind of root for a single team or kind of fall in love with a team. But if you're in Brooklyn, you're separated, you have your own thing. You could basically stay in Brooklyn and not even really have to go to the other boroughs because they have so much stuff there. But kind of going back to the Knicks thing, yeah, it's just a mess right now, and it's kind of sad that the president and GM are kind of angling toward firing David Fizdale, because I think you should give him at least another year to kind of get this rebuild going. Because
at least give him half the season.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's not a terrible coach. He led Memphis to the playoffs when Memphis was still a decent team, and he was a long-time assistant with Miami, so he knows something about winning. I just think it needs to take some more time and just
better roster.
Yeah, I mean, you have a few bright spots on the roster like RJ Barrett, but just give him some more time. At least give him another year, I'd say, before you seriously think about firing him.
I mean, they're never going to find a coach that can turn this around quickly. This is as long as it's already been, the Knicks are in for a long process of turning this thing around. Because, I mean, it could go another 10 years, honestly. It is that bad. And it's hard to imagine them really being consistently in the playoffs for another, I mean, it's going to be a long time. I mean, they might surprise people every now and then, make it to the playoffs, but I mean, I think for the next 10 years, they're still going to be a dumpster fire.
It's not in the worst in NBA history, though. I'll put that out there. Just because
Do you mean the worst season, the worst, like...
situation, season, anything? Because, think about it. They're in New York. Players are going to want to come to New York. We all heard about Kyrie and Kevin Durant until that went down.
Is the front
Well, hold
office.
on. Charlotte, a few years ago, if you remember, had the worst season in NBA history, and they're still not up in one of the top teams in the East. And they've been trying to rebuild for, I can't even tell you how long.
I don't know. I think the Knicks are worse just because they had, like you said, they're in New York, and they're not doing anything with it. They should be able to build back up much quicker because no one wants to go to Charlotte. But people want to go to New York, but they're saying,
yeah, they're going to finish with a better record than Charlotte did in that
we're going to go
span
with
of
the
time.
Nets.
I feel
that
like
doesn't matter because the Knicks want to go to championships and go to the playoffs.
So does Charlotte.
But do people expect that? No.
I feel like we're missing
They know history.
I feel like we're missing the bigger example of going from the outhouse to the penthouse. The 76ers did it. They did it relatively.
They also had
They had a plan.
They had
place.
like 3 number 1 draft picks.
The Knicks
one of them
don't
doesn't
look
play
like they have a
anymore.
plan.
I mean, trust the process. We have a plan and it works out. And now the 76ers are one of the best teams in the NBA, right? At least top 7.
And they kept their coach too, Brett Brown. He was throughout this whole trust the process thing. It wasn't like they hired a new guy and then turned it around. So that's what I'm saying. You got to give Fizdale at least another year to kind of turn this ship around, because Brett Brown's been there probably 6-7 years. He was through all the hardships, but now they're one of the best teams. So I think you got to give him some more time.
And it's after trading their number 1 pick,
exactly.
Markelle Fultz, which I guess for the 76ers' sake was a bust. So we'll see. Anything else in the NBA that we want to get into right quick? Mark Cuban did come out and say that he was okay with load management. I know it's been kind of a sticking point for the past week.
So dumb.
After the Kawhi stuff. Which part is dumb? Load management or being upset about load management?
Just we're sitting him out due to load management.
Just say
seriously.
Yeah. Just do you want them not to sit out, or you just want them to say we're sitting him out because we want to make sure he's healthy?
Personally, in my opinion, you shouldn't be sitting a professional sporting event in basketball or baseball, because those are the two sports I play the most, due to load management, unless you're hurt or sick or you have a family issue or something outside of the sport. I mean, like, that's your livelihood, and to take time off just for load management, you know what you signed up for. It's an 82-game season plus the postseason if you're good enough. Do your job and play the game.
The only reason I'm pretty much with you, but the only reason I disagree is just because we see so many injuries that it kind of seems it does happen.
I don't think we even mentioned poor Gordon Hayward. Oh, no.
Like, we just see so many injuries that
I forgot about him.
I think if it helps prevent it, then sure, because like it's so annoying.
Well, if it helps prevent injuries, then they need to shorten the season.
Well,
so that's my point.
I think possibly that would help, but I think it's just like the back-to-backs and stuff like that, that's tough to deal with. And, like, I mean, Dennis Smith, so Derrick Rose is the perfect example. I was going to say Dennis Smith Jr., it reminds me of him, and I could see him, sorry, Jared.
Yeah.
I could see him being similar, getting a serious injury just because his bounce is crazy, but the stress on those legs, I mean, we saw what happened to Derrick Rose. I mean, I would hate to see that happen to anyone else.
We're going to see it happen with Zion soon. Yeah. Man jumps out there the arena, but I'm scared.
He hasn't even played yet.
I mean, here's my thing about load management. I could understand some player or some teams doing it, but here's what would make me mad about it. Let's say a Western Conference team, for instance, the Lakers are traveling to play the Hawks, and the Lakers decide to sit LeBron James for load management. It's not like the Lakers are going to come back to Atlanta every a few times per year. They only come by once a year. So if I pay a crap ton of money to see LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and they're sitting out do the load management, that's going to make me upset because I paid a lot of money. It's not get to see this team every 3 times like they would play in Golden State or Phoenix or whoever else is in their division. You only get one chance to see him, and that would make me upset as a fan paying all this money because nobody comes to pay. I hate to say it, nobody pays JaVale McGee or Dwight Howard or
I hope Devin didn't hear that.
Alex Caruso, even though he's the GOAT, but still, nobody pays that much money to have these players sit out. So if you have to do load management, don't do it when it's an East versus West matchup. Do it if it's a West versus West or East versus East.
And if it's because the games are too close together, spread the season out. If there's too many games in the season, shorten the season.
Let's go August to August. August to August.
I don't think you can spread the season out anymore. The offseason already takes 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So you'd have to shorten it. I don't know. It's just one of those things where basketball, it's like you compare it to baseball, but baseball's much different. I don't think it has a stress on your body injury-wise.
Oh, no, I think Devin did hear. I just saw him walk past. You talking about JaVale McGee.
It's on site.
It's on site.
Uh-oh.
So look at that. He might have heard. Oh, with that being said, we're going to head to a quick commercial break. That way Javon gets beat up. And when we come back, we'll have more of the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV.
Making it green is making sure the air in your home is healthy for your family to breathe. Make sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN. Preserve your family's health and well-being. Get your home tested. That's living healthy and green.
It's your home, it's your dream. It's your dream.
Make sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN.
A message from the U.S. EPA.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to mooch off your friends.
You gonna finish that grape?
You mean the one in my mouth?
You don't need to stop buying the necessities.
What you're smelling is a natural musk.
Ew.
You don't need to be a medical test subject.
How do you feel?
Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman. Let's break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Danger, danger. I don't fit in on a stranger. Believer. I can take out all the evil. Empowerment to all my people.
And welcome back inside the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV. Hello, everybody. Jared Dillon, and joining me in the studio is Bay Mark, Siobhan Cutler, and Jacob Hillman. We got 6 minutes to go in the show. I don't really have anything else on the sports agenda for today, so we'll just, talk for 6 minutes, I guess. Anybody got anything?
I don't know. I saw some headline about NFL MVP race. I guess we can talk about that because, with Russell Wilson's big win over the 49ers, it makes it a little bit more interesting because, I was not buying the Russell Wilson hype until now just because, I thought the schedule was a little bit weak and I figured he'd fall off. But with that win over the 49ers, it's impressive. I really can't say who exactly I think will win it. Obviously, I'm going to lobby for my man Christian McCaffrey, but, with who I think should actually win it, I really don't know.
So it is currently, according to ESPN's Courtney Cronin, Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, there we go, Christian McCaffrey, and Aaron Rodgers, while Dalvin Cook just missed the cut. Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, stocks going up right now.
I love to see this.
Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Give it to a defensive player.
Michael Thomas, and stocks going down. Patrick Mahomes and Jimmy G.
Why is Jimmy G up there?
Because don't you disrespect Jimmy
I'm going to
G
give
like
you the trash talk that Carter would have given you yesterday if he was actually on the show. And come on,
hit me with it.
If
he leads if he's top 10 in every single stat category for quarterbacks, he's at least okay, right?
I'm not going to say he's bad, but he is average. Average. Not even above average. He is average, and that's it. He's got a great O-line. He's got an insane defense. His defense was going to be the reason they won on Monday, if they did win. But Jimmy G didn't make the plays when he needed to, so they didn't win. I don't want to say he's the reason they lost, but his defense put him in great positions to win.
Yeah.
He did not get it done.
Yeah, all that is true. But we'll see. Still got a good bit of games to go in the NFL as it starts to get a little bit colder, and these games start to mean a little bit more. Anything else in sports that we've forgotten to talk about in this past, hour 50?
Well, Chase Young's coming back.
Oh, yeah.
Well, a big thing, I know the baseball season's over, but they've started coming out with the videos about the Astros.
Yeah. So there's the Astros cheating thing, which...
Which to give some context, pretty much what it is there's videos, multiple videos, of when the Astros are at bat against an opposing team, and pretty much for those people who don't know baseball signs, I'll put it in the camera. When a catcher throws out a changeup, it's either just 3 straight fingers or it's a flutter fingers, and that's pretty much changeup. And so with the outfield camera that the TV broadcast uses, they're accusing the Astros of using that camera, zooming in on the catcher's fingers, because, half the time they either paint their nails or wrap white tape around their fingers so you can see the fingers. And when they get the sign from the catcher right before the pitcher comes into his set position, they'll bang on the trash can with the bat, and that's how they know, changeup's coming. So that's what they're claiming right now.
Well, that also a former pitcher kind of.
Yeah, Mike Myers.
Yeah.
Whistleblower.
I don't think it was allegedly this guy told The Athletic that it happened, but yeah, it's one of those
innocent until proven guilty.
And
but the evidence is there.
Pretty much.
It's a former pitcher that told The Athletic, as he's now currently playing for the Athletics. Carter's a former catcher. He can tell us about, pitches.
I didn't play baseball, Jared.
I barely remember
I wasn't a pitcher when I played baseball.
I barely remember your name half the time, okay? So,
He did call you Jay.
yeah.
That is true.
And Carter's staring at you very intensely. Oh, he left. No, well.
I do the Carter quarter better than he does.
Well, with that being said,
I will die on this hill.
You're going to die on that hill. Of all the hills to die on, you're going to die on that hill. Now he's looking at me through this window.
There's no camera over there, so you can't.
We can't see him. I do have an extra camera. I'm going to rig it up in here eventually.
We have about the bullpen cam.
I did talk about bullpen cam, but I feel like we would.
That could go wrong.
We would catch too many things.
You use the camera to show the update of the whiteboard behind you. We haven't even mentioned that this week.
Like I know there's a whiteboard behind me, but you can't really see it, and it messes with the coloring on the on the camera. And there's like a very big depth thing going on right now because it's trying to focus on the whiteboard behind us. It's Auburn's college football playoff ranking that it's Auburn's
chance.
Imaginative scenario.
Yeah, it's a big old scenario how Auburn can still make the playoffs. I got to update it. It's falling apart right in front of my eyes. Why is everybody walking up to the windows now? Even Jack just walked up to the window.
People are very concerned about the extra point.
Everybody loves the extra point.
That is why. Yep.
We got JP with the drip right now. He's getting ready for an interview. He got a nice little coat on. Longtime friend of the program, Kaep, which I don't know her last name, so I just call her Kaep. She's over there now as well.
She's a real great friend if you don't know her last name.
Yeah, well, it took me a year to find out your name was actually Bailey. So,
well, I mean, no one calls him that, so I mean that's fair.
Yeah.
That's not the point. Like Carter's real name isn't actually Carter. I don't even actually know.
That's probably his
it.
middle name.
I don't actually know it.
What's his? Oh, I forget.
I remember it once.
It was on Box.
Yes, it was on. I'm gonna have to go
I
check
have Box
Box
pulled up. Let me look.
And go look before we have to get out of here.
Huh.
You got
exposed Carter.
Yeah, exposed Carter on the show.
No, but especially like literally no one calls Bailey.
It's James
Carter Bird.
Wow. Huh.
Oh, what a nerd. All right, with that being said, I hope he did well on this test. And Mama Bird, if you're listening, we're taking care of Big Bird. With that being said, that does it for the show today. So thank you. I'm forgetting everybody's names. Bay Marks and Jacob Pillman for joining me on the program. Tomorrow, the scoreboard at 4 o'clock. You also catch the podcast on that as well after the fact. I almost forgot. Today is Devin's birthday. So when we walked in, we probably should have said happy birthday.
Oh, yeah, I probably should have.
Happy birthday to Devin. I've known him for 3 months, and I can honestly say that kid's a character.
Yeah.
So happy birthday to Devin. I'm going to assume 19 years old. I don't know. But
is he a freshman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably, I guess.
So, yeah. So happy birthday to Devin. He'll be on the show tomorrow. Maybe we'll get a cake or something. I don't know. I've already been in trouble about throwing candy in the studio.
I don't think cake would be a good idea.
Oh, well, who's going to stop me? With that being said, that does it for extra.
Bread,
Oh, wait.
bread.
And no, they're not paying attention. Look, they're just laughing in there right now. They're not paying attention to anything. Yeah. Oh, with that being said, Cutler and Cruz tomorrow. Yesterday at 4 o'clock. You can catch the podcast as well on our SoundCloud, Spotify, all the other things that we have. But thank you all for joining me on the show and dealing with the past 10 minutes because I don't know what that was. But we will see you same time, same place tomorrow. That does it for the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 FM and Eagle Eye TV. Want to watch more? Catch replays of the Extra Point on Eagle Eye TV by going to eagleeyeauburn.com. You can also go to WEGL 91.1 FM YouTube page for full replay. Want to listen more? We have you covered. Tune in to Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, or SoundCloud and search WEGL 91.1 FM for more of the Extra Point and other sports content. Stay up to date with the latest news and sports by visiting WEGLFM.com. The Extra Point, bringing you the X's and O's from around the plains of Auburn and around the world of sports. Auburn's best sports talk radio show, Auburn's only sports talk TV show. Watch and listen live Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to noon. WEGL Sports, where every game lives.
Fireball.